Oh my goodness. Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the morning show right here on Wire to Wire Sports. I'm your host for today, Mr. William D. Morgan, and I got a cast of thousands with me today. First, let me bring my brothers in from other mothers, the guys who helped me get here. First, let me bring in the NFL genius, my man Gene over here. Gene, what's going on, man?
Bro, I am so glad to be back. I've had a week, right? Since last Wednesday's Wire to Wire. From Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, with work, with the parade, with Valentine's Day. It's been a wild week. So I'm happy to be back. Last night I was back on Wire to Wire. This morning back on the morning show talking to you fine gentlemen. So good morning.
Let me tell y'all real quick. Valentine's Day is one day I do not celebrate. However, it is the day after that I enjoy because you get all the good deals on the candy. Now, let me go ahead. Let me go ahead and bring in my other brother, Mo Better. Mo, what's up, man? How you doing this morning?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. It is Friday. Lots of sports to get into, so I'm always ready for this.
All right, all right. It's Friday.
It's Thursday.
Thursday. I'm sorry.
Thursday.
See, I'm our, guys.
In my calendar.
Everybody out there,
work right now.
yeah.
It's Friday.
Everybody out there joining us. I'm already in weekend mode. My bad, folks.
All right, let's go ahead and get to it. We got a lot we're going to talk about today. MLB is soon to make its return, but first I did want to go ahead and get into this because Mo is with me today. NBA came back last night. The games after the All-Star break, and we all know those games are important as you get playoff seeding and players gear up to make a championship run. Mo, the Hornets went in, did their thing against your Lakers last night, 100-97. I got to go to Mo first on this one. Mo, what's your thoughts on that?
Look, it's not just the Hornets. Remember, before the All-Star break, they lost to the Jazz, a team that won 12 games.
Yep.
So, look, the Luka experiment is just that. It's an experiment. He is not just rusty. He's still not quite in game shape. So, I said this before, it's going to look a little funky at times. I think right now Luka's trying to find his game, but I also think he's deferring too much to LeBron. Luka has to be Luka. If he defers to LeBron James, why make the trade? And
Right.
and that's what it's got to be. He has to be the ball dominant guy to be his true self. So until they get that right, they're going to struggle. Not to mention, we already know the best defense for Luka is his offense.
Yes.
If he's not dominant offensively, then when he gets targeted on defense, it's going to have more of an impact. And the Lakers aren't a good defensive team. So I was disappointed in them losing to the Hornets. But look, if you can lose to the Jazz, you for sure can lose to the Hornets.
Gene, what are your thoughts about this game, my friend?
I'm a big fan of karma, right? And I don't know if y'all heard me last night on Wire to Wire, but I hate it. Listen, I know I fully understand it. Anthony Edwards and Giannis did the same exact thing. So let me be clear when I say that. But I really hate it that LeBron James took up an all-star spot, like played the day-to-day role, and then goes, I'm too injured to play in the game, the 40. But we said it last night. We all knew he was going to play Wednesday night. We all knew it. We knew it. He wasn't too injured to play in the All-Star game. And the fact that he took up a spot, it felt like an attention hog type situation. And I don't know, man. It was just one of those things where I felt like good karma that the Hornets went in and beat them. If you really look, you had the chance to be the hero. Cottrell put it perfectly. Even Shally put it perfectly. You had the chance to be the hero. You could have stayed back in LA, worked with Luka, figured out the chemistry with the Lakers, said your foot was bothering you. They didn't do that. What he did was he soaked up All-Star Weekend. He soaked up all the attention. And then it looked like they still don't know how to play together, and which is expected, right?
Right.
That's expected. But if you're not going to play in the All-Star game, at least stay home and work with your teammates.
Facts. That's facts.
Agreed.
All facts. It was interesting because I was listening to Wire to Wire, which great show last night, guys. As always, not surprising. You guys never fail to deliver. But the conversation was interesting because I thought you did find some common ground when you guys were talking about Jordan or LeBron and how great LeBron was. I've never disagreed with anyone that said LeBron James is top 3 all time. and it's made a strong case to be the guy. My problem with him is outside what he does on the court, he's so scripted. He's so unnatural. Even when he tries to be natural, it comes off as scripted, like he planned it. Like what Gene just brought up about the All-Star game, he knew way ahead of time he wasn't interested. He didn't like the format because he didn't want to play against guys that weren't even stars. He didn't want to compete because he thought, it goes back to the conversation, what if one of these G Leaguer teams beats a team with me, KD, and Steph on it? I'll never live it down. And that's what I mean about competition. Yes, I get Cottrell's point about, yes, they fear that what could happen. But that's my point. You're being fearful versus saying, like, I'm going to go out there and compete and show these guys I'm better than them. And if I should lose to them, I'll take the L and I'll give them credit, and then I'll come back and still be the great player that I am. But these guys don't think like that. And he's led the way for the past 20 years on that kind of thinking, where the best players avoid competition.
It's facts, bro.
Yeah, true facts. True facts. We talked about it yesterday, Mo, and I said he wasn't hurt. He wasn't hurt.
Yeah, I knew he wasn't.
Yeah, we knew he wasn't hurt. He
because
dunked last night.
That was Norman Powell's spot to be had, or Tyrese Maxey's spot to be had, and he took it away. He took it away.
Yep. All right. Let's go ahead moving over to the lead story. MLB is upon us, and I want to know from you fellas, who are your top 5 MLB teams as we come upon spring training? Who are your top 5? Gene, I'll start with you.
The Dodgers, the Dodgers, the Dodgers, the Dodgers, and the Dodgers. Look, I'll give you my top 5 in a minute. I'll be realistic. I'll take it serious. But it's the Dodgers world, and we are all living in it.
I agree.
They have the best pitching staff. They have the best bullpen. They have the best lineup. They have a top 5 defense. They have the most stars. The Dodgers are in a position. And look, I'll be honest with you. It's been really intelligent what some of these other teams are starting to do now. They're looking at what the Dodgers did. Like the Phillies just signed a Japanese star recently. And in the press conference, they said, I'm hoping that he said, I'm hoping to be, start a trend to have Japanese players play in Philadelphia, because the Dodgers, what they were so ahead of was getting the Japanese players to all play on the same team. I made this comment maybe a year ago when they had the World Baseball Classic. And I said the Japanese national team would run the table in Major League Baseball. They wouldn't go undefeated, but they'd win 120 games and they would win the World Series. This is not like the NBA, where the best NBA team would dominate in any other league. The Japanese national team would be better than any team in Major League Baseball. The talent over there is insane. They're very good at baseball, and the Dodgers are just head and shoulders above the rest of Major League Baseball. But let me give you a real list. I'll give you a real list. It might be controversial to some of my Phillies fans, but I have the Phillies number 5. A lot of people have the Phillies higher. I have them a little bit lower. They didn't really do anything. They stood pat. They're really playing off of in this offseason that, like, now the media is underplaying us, and we don't have to have the spotlight on us, and there's less pressure. Nick Castellanos got kind of heated with a reporter yesterday, which was really stupid, but I don't want to get into that. But I have the Philadelphia Phillies 5. Number 4, I have the team that took out the Philadelphia Phillies, that added Juan Soto, that's getting back Kodai Senga. I have the New York Mets. I think the Mets are the best team in New York. Sorry, Yankees fans. I think Yankees losing Juan Soto and just bringing in one pitcher is just not going to be enough for the New York Yankees. I have the Metropolitans number 4. Number 3, look, I say this all. I think the Atlanta Braves are one of those teams that have just the best scouting department. They constantly bring up great players. Last year, they lost Ronald Acuna. Last year, they lost Spencer Strider. You're going to get both those players back. They were right in the thick of things for the playoffs, and they lost their best 2 players. Number 2, this might come to a shock. I have it in the same division as the Los Angeles Dodgers. Give me the San Diego Padres. I love the way they built their team. Their pitching staff to their lineup. They're starting to learn how to play together. But number 1 is the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers are the best team in baseball. And it's not close. Like, I almost want to say The Dodgers are 1, and then there's a gap at 2, and then you have 3, 4, 5, and 6. That's the difference between what we're looking at in Major League Baseball.
Mo, you got a top 5 you want to get out there?
So as a casual baseball fan here, it's funny because I was gonna say Gene's original answer, the Dodgers. I'm from Los Angeles, but my family, everybody's an avid baseball fan. Like they can tell you who was where when Kirk Gibson hit that home run. Like they're avid baseball fans. So I don't have up Dodgers banners because I feel like it's like being a front runner because I didn't follow them through the hard times like that, so I'm not going to celebrate the good times. I think the best 3 teams for me, the top 3 teams, I go Dodgers, I go Padres, I go Phillies, then Mets. I know the Mets beat the Phillies last year, but I don't think it's one of those things where they will be dominant over them all the time. I think the Phillies, when both teams are at their best, I think the Phillies can beat the Mets. That's what I believe. So those are my top teams.
The top teams I'm looking at right now, my top 5 very quickly. I got the Phillies at number 5. I got the Yankees at number 4. I got my Mets at number 3. And the only reason I got my Mets at number 3 is because of that division. Good gosh, that's a hell of a division. Braves at number 2. And then, of course, the Dodgers at number 1. What can you say? They're the class in MLB right now.
You know, it's funny because the Major League, I did my list without looking at the Major League Power rankings just to see where they have it. They have the Dodgers 1. They have the Phillies 2. I think I might be underplaying the Yankees just a bit. They did add Paul Goldschmidt. They had Max Fried, Cody Bellinger, Devin Williams. I could see the Yankees being a top 5 team too. I just think with the Braves organization, they will consistently retool and put the right pieces in place. And when I looked at that Yankees postseason run last year, it wasn't as dominant as people would like you to believe. They beat the Guardians, and I forget who they beat in the first round, but I think the Orioles are better this year. I think you're going to see like a different trend I think the Red Sox are extremely better this year. I think you're getting back to the days where the Red Sox, the Orioles, the Yankees will all be competing for that division.
And that's going to be better for baseball overall.
Baseball's always better when the Red Sox and Yankees are good. I hate saying that as a Phillies fan, but it's the truth.
Yep, it is. It is. All right. Anybody have any early season projections for MVP?
I mean, you want to go NL, AL, both?
We can do both. We can do it with the American League first.
Okay, so the American League, it's kind of I'm not going to do the same thing everyone else is going to do and give you the Aaron Judge answer. I love Bobby Witt Jr. I really
That's
do.
who I got.
Bobby Witt Jr. of the Kansas City Royals is just special. The guy's next level. He's the next one. He's the next great one. And if it's not Bobby Witt Jr., I'm going to go with Gunnar Henderson of the Baltimore Orioles. There's another really young stud kid. Both those kids are young, and they're young superstars. They're phenoms. So give me either Bobby Witt or Gunnar Henderson.
Gene?
Yo, you heard me?
Gene?
What's up?
Oh, okay. Mo, I couldn't hear you for a second.
You know what? I'm going to go.
You got anybody you want to get out there?
Yeah, I'm going to go away from the young studs. I'm going to go with Soto. I'm going to go with Juan Soto on the Mets. I think Soto's going to have a monster year.
For the NL?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give you the NL.
Okay.
I was just going AL first, but
all right.
For the NL, look, it's hard not to go with Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
What he did last year was incredible, and he didn't even pitch. Like, you're going to add that pitching dynamic to it. This guy could win 10 MVPs by the time his career is over. That's how good he is. I think that's the obvious pick. If I had to give you a sleeper, though, I want to give you somebody that you might not be thinking of, a guy that could really have a great year. And this is just deep, deep down in odds. Look out for Jackson Chourio. Jackson Chourio of the Milwaukee Brewers is going to be someone that I think a lot of people are going to – it's going to catch the world by storm. I think he's a great ball player. He's electric. He's all over. And I think MLB would love that young talent. So my theme this year is young talent.
Let me see. Anybody in the American League for you, Mo?
I'm a front runner. I'm going with Shohei. I'm going with Shohei.
How about American League?
Maybe Witt, like he said, like Gene said.
I like the Henderson pick too.
I mean, Gunner's in a perfect lineup for him
Mm-hmm.
with Adley. I love what the Baltimore
Bellinger.
Orioles are doing as a whole. Like, I just love it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, let's move on over real
Bellinger would
quick
be good too.
back to the NBA. I gotta ask you fellas this: with AD being injured, would you consider that trade for AD and Luka a failure?
I mean, it's definitely a failure, right? Like, why are we not talking about this being a failure? You gave away a generational talent at the age of 25, and you did that for a small title window. So with AD being injured for that small title window, I'm not going to argue with you and tell you that the Dallas Mavericks aren't better constructed with AD for 1 year. But what you did, it's almost like you put all your chips in the table to make one title run to try to get a championship. And as soon as you put your chips in the table collapsed. And that table was Anthony Davis. I think it's a massive failure for the Dallas Mavericks. I said the only way it's not a massive failure is if they go out and win a title. And I don't think that they can do that.
It would be one of the worst trades in NBA history, worse than the CP3 trade.
Bro, CJ, I love the picture, bro. I love the profile picture.
That is cool.
You my guy. I'm so happy for you and your happiness, man.
That is cool. Mr. Glass.
I mean, he is. He's Mr. Glass. He's not lying to you.
Street clothes. Mo, do you think that AD and Luka trade is a big failure?
It's a failure even if AD plays great. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a lopsided trade. Like, for what Dallas gave up, you should have got more. You should have got much more. Like Austin Reeves should have came over. I think, and I think the Mavs are better than the Lakers, but I think that it was a short-sighted trade because if you look at how they're built in this league, two things you need: shooting and you need shot creation. The Mavs have one person on their roster who can consistently create their own shot. So in the postseason, when everybody rushes Kyrie, who do they have that can break down the defense when everything's going wrong? They don't have anybody else. Everything is predicated on their bigs, but you have to have shot creators. They weren't going to win a title even if AD played great. So I think it's just a bad trade. And I wish they would just be honest and say, we just didn't want to pay Luka. We want to pay him.
Speak to CJ. Got 5 firsts for Gobert.
Yeah, the worst trade, one of the worst trades ever, by far.
And I hate Rudy Gobert. I just can't stand it, dude.
I mean, listen, so many NBA players hate Rudy Gobert too, but at the end of the day, you got to give Danny Ainge his credit. When he makes a trade, he's always on the right side of the trade. And when you look at what they got for Gobert, I mean, that's incredible. Luka being traded is, we had it on our bracket last night as one of the 16 most shocking things of the 20th century.
Oh God, that bracket was insane. Like, there were so many things.
Bro, can I ask y'all a question? I'm sorry to interrupt in this part, but I almost lost my mind last night. But I want to see if y'all feel the difference. What was more shocking to you? I'm not going to give you the seeds. I'm not going to tell you where we voted. I think Mo knows where I voted, but I don't want to give it away. But what was more shocking to you? Andrew Luck's retirement from the NFL at 28 years old, or Manti Te'o's fake girlfriend, the whole scandal that happened with Notre Dame? What was more shocking to you?
Andrew Luck retiring at 28.
See, maybe I'm nuts. I thought Manti Te'o's fake girlfriend was the most shocking story I've ever heard in my life.
No, I was with the Manti Te'o thing because I was like, the more we get into the story, the more shocking it got. It got more wild. It got more wild.
But to me, when you go back and you saw that story unfold with Manti, you sort of kind of thought, yeah, this is trollish. This is trollish. And I really didn't put much stock behind it. I've seen guys like that. Now, it didn't turn out in that way. It turned out a lot worse with the people I know who fell for stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of thought it was trollish. I was shocked by Luck retiring because at 28, you were pretty much in the prime of your career as an athlete. And all of a sudden, you get tired of your situation and you say, I'm out. That's kind of shocking at that point in time in his career.
Well, let me just say this. I live here in Indy. It wasn't shocking to me. Andrew Luck was taking a beating every season. I mean, you name an injury, he had it. Like he wasn't going to have a long career. Let's agree on that. Not staying. And he was thinking about his future health. It did not shock me that he retired.
Yo, and he was a Stanford kid. You know how intelligent he is. He's not like
Right.
a dumb kid. And like, I'll take it a step further, right? I want to replay this in your head. And I know that you remember it when I say it. But Manti Te'o went on national television after winning a big football game and said, prayers out to my girlfriend, Lene Kukua, who was just in a massive car accident and is dying in the hospital, and was crying. And then in between the time where they put together the college football playoff and the national championship game, it came out that she was a fake girlfriend. So like now he's at the Heisman Trophy. This guy is going for a Heisman Trophy. He's at the Heisman platform and he looks like the scaredest kid in the world. Like cannot believe that someone lied to him and he was talking to a fake girlfriend. And then you find out he's being catfished by a male. Like, so he's been talking on the phone with a male every night. Like that was the wildest story ever. Like Neve from Catfish couldn't have put together a crazier story than what Manti Te'o went through. Now, I feel a little better that Will said the same thing as Cottrell and Bill, but like in my mind, I can't wrap my head around like that was not it. On the scale of 1 to 100. The Andrew Luck thing was like a 60 in a surprising scale. The Manti Te'o thing to me was like a 95. That was crazy.
I feel the same way because the more we get into it, the wilder it got.
Yeah.
And you felt bad for the kid because I'm like, he totally bought into this. He was invested in this relationship that wasn't a like I felt so bad. And how can you not be embarrassed to another level? I feel like because of that scandal, I feel like it greatly impacted his professional career.
And the more you heard him, I'm sorry, Will, the more you heard him talk, you realized how genuine of a kid he was, like how nice of a person he was. Like he was like a guy that didn't drink or do anything bad to his body. Like he was kind. Like he had a relationship, a long distance relationship. He's at Notre Dame. He's the biggest star in the country in college football. He can have any female he wants. He chose to be celibate in a long distance relationship.
Right.
Like that was a good kid, right? And like that was it was sad to see. So
I guess now that I start, I think I see why you two think that, because today, back then, technology it's not what it is today. We have things that we can Google Meet, Teams, Google Meet, FaceTime. We really didn't have that back at that point in time. So yeah, I guess I can see it because there was really no way to where okay, let me see your face. Let me talk to you. Let me communicate with you outside of that. So I guess I see where you guys are coming from. Because
and social media, I'm sorry, Will. Social media,
the technology barrier.
Right. Social media wasn't what it was either. Can you imagine how that kid would have got destroyed with social media now? Because social media is so mean at times. Like he would have got obliterated.
Bro, I still have the fake eHarmony app, the fake eHarmony spoof that the college kids did with Manti Te'o and his fake girlfriend, where he's throwing the football to nobody and like, oh, she's like I still have that spoof on my phone.
Crazy.
Oh wow, I hadn't seen that.
It's so funny, but it sucks for the kid. But but it was wild. I'm sorry to take you off track. Well, I know you have a ton of topics. My bad.
Feel like return was more impactful. That French had been the same. And oh no, he won't. Heck no, he won't.
Absolutely.
Stop it.
Heck no, he won't. Let me get back to the NBA very quickly.
By the way, called that shit on draft night. Called that shit before draft night. I said any team that drafts Anthony Richardson in the first round is a fool.
I think you said also, and correct me if I'm wrong, Gene, and you turn out to be true on this as well. Wouldn't he be better off as more as a gadget guy?
I said he's Taysom Hill.
There you go.
Yes.
There you go.
Agreed.
There you go. Agreed.
I think he could be Taysom Hill. I said him and Will Levis were absolute busts.
Yeah.
I said Spencer Rattler is better than him and Will Levis, is what I said on draft night. I still stand by that. I still think Spencer Rattler has a better career than Anthony Richardson and Will Levis.
I hope that proves to be true from our New Orleans Saints, but we shall see. We shall see.
I
Um,
look out for this for the New Orleans Saints. I think the New Orleans Saints trade a late draft pick, maybe a 4th-round pick,
Mm.
to get either Kenny Pickett or Tanner McKee, a guy that's familiar with Kellen Moore's system, that played backup to Jalen Hurts and
Mhm.
competes with Spencer Rattler. I think Derek Carr is being moved out.
I hope so. I hope so because Derek Carr ain't it. All right, Mo, I gotta bring this guy up. I know you. I know you've been watching him. Bobo looks to be making more of a contribution to the Phoenix Suns. Do you think that's a good move for him to get more minutes as the Suns try to salvage the season?
The kid he reeks of potential. 7-footer who can put the ball on the floor, get his own shot. Bo's biggest flaw is consistency, but the talent is there. And if you're Phoenix and you're in the situation that you're in, any weapon at your disposal, like a Bobo, play him, put him in the rock. They just don't have a lot of depth on that team, and I think it's great that they put him in there. Is it going to change their ultimate fate? No, they're going to be knocked out. If they're lucky enough to make the playoffs, they're going to be a first round exit. I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs.
No.
What you think, Gene?
So first of all, I love the team I've seen from him in the last 4 games. I mean, the guy's got 13 blocks in 4 games. He's averaging 15 points a game in those 4 games. Like, I love what I'm seeing from him. I would love his rebound numbers to be a little bit better. I feel like that he gets pushed around on the block a little bit too often. He's great at jumping up and rim protecting, but I feel like the rim protection is what that team needs. I still think they lack a true point guard identity on that Phoenix Suns team. And I thought they were going to get that. I really did. But the problem is they can't play the style in which they want to play with Beal and Booker and Durant while having Tyus Jones on the floor. And I thought Tyus Jones would bring that true point guard dynamic to them. But Devin Booker seems to be more of the guy that's taken over the point guard duties. And he's not that. Devin Booker's never been that. He's a 2 guard. He's a true 2 guard.
Agreed. I think that's one of their biggest flaws. They brought Tyus Jones there, but they've made Tyus Jones more of a spot-up shooter. He doesn't really handle the ball that much. You devalued him by not letting him do the one thing that he does well is run an offense.
100%.
You're not doing him any favors at all with his current usage pattern. You're not helping him at all strive for your team.
And I hate saying this, but if they had a lineup, if you just take Bradley Beal off the team and you put Chris Paul, and their lineup is Chris Paul, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Royce O'Neal, and Bol, that team could compete. I'm not saying they're winning a championship.
Right.
That starting lineup is actually fluid. It makes sense.
That starting lineup would actually be really good because everybody on the floor would have a high basketball IQ.
Correct.
Oh yeah. Can be in the right places at the right times. All right, I got another basketball question for you guys. Is Luka the best co-star LeBron has ever had?
No, not yet. No. You realize this man played with prime D Wade, right? Mm-hmm. We're not saying Luka's better than Dwayne Wade right now, right?
No,
that's not the question. And the crazy part is this, right? Can Luka develop into that in 3 years? LeBron won't be there in 3 years.
He won't.
Fact.
He's not. No. I appreciate the question. I'm sorry to be first to interject. I'm gonna put myself on mute to calm down for a minute.
No, you're good.
No.
I
think, good, brother. You good? What you think? What you thinking about?
He could have the potential, but Gene makes the most basic point. He's 100% spot on. LeBron's not going to be there when Luka's at his peak.
Right.
So no, he's not going to be the best teammate LeBron James ever had. If you think about in terms of success, the goal is ultimately to win titles. Well, I can't even put him ahead of Kyrie the year they won a title. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I think Luka, as an individual talent, could be a greater player than Dwayne Wade down the line, but he's not the best teammate LeBron James ever played with.
Facts.
I got one more basketball question, then we'll go over to the gridiron. Is this the year that the Cleveland Cavaliers, say that 10 sound fast, be finals bound?
No. Go ahead, Mo. I'll go second.
I think this can be the year where they make a deep playoff run and they end up in the conference finals. I still think Boston is the team to beat. Cleveland's made every move you need to make to match up with Boston.
Right.
But I still think the playoffs are different. And you can tell the Celtics have played the regular season the way a defending champion plays the regular season. They've been great at times. They've taken their foot off the pedal. But I think when the playoffs come, matter of fact, the second half of the season, they'll ramp it up. Boston is still the deepest, most complete team in the Eastern Conference. So I don't think the Knicks can beat them. I don't think the Pacers can beat them. I don't think the Bucks can beat them. And I don't think the Cavs can beat them.
Gene?
I want to ask you a question. I don't know if you remember this, but just a few years ago, the Utah Jazz were the first seed in the in the NBA. It was the Donovan Mitchell and
I remember that.
Rudy Gobert year. And
Yep.
I think they lost in the second round. I think they won their first round series and lost in the second round. This is that team. This reeks of an overachieving regular season team. I'm not saying that the Cleveland Cavaliers aren't a good basketball team, but this is an overachieving team. I give them the fifth. This sounds so stupid, but I don't care. I give them the fifth best odds in the Eastern Conference to win a title.
Wow.
The fifth best odds in the Eastern Conference to win a title.
Who are the four besides Boston?
I got you. The Knicks, the Bucks, and the 76ers.
Come on.
Hear me out. I don't think the 76ers have any chance of turning it around and winning a title. But if there's any team that can go up against Boston, if they get everyone healthy come playoff time, I think the 76ers as an 8 seed can beat Boston a lot easier than the Cleveland Cavaliers can beat Boston. And I mean that because you have Tyrese Maxey, you have Paul George, you have Joel Embiid. First of all, let me be very clear. I think the 76ers have a better chance of not making the playoffs than winning the NBA Finals. But I don't think the Cleveland Cavaliers can match up with any of those teams. I think the New York Knicks are stacked. I think the Milwaukee Bucks have that star power that you absolutely need. And I think that the 76ers have the star. Look, I'll put it to you this way, right? I would love for the 76ers to get the 8 seed and the Cavs to be the 1 seed. I would love that because it would show you exactly what I mean. Now, in the second round, the 76ers would flail out and Paul George would be hurt and Joel Embiid would be, his tummy would be bothering him. But, like, I think that, and I'll say this, right? I think the 76ers have 3 of the best 4 players in that series.
I think that a lot of what Cleveland is dependent on is what DeAndre Hunter can bring to their roster. Because it gives you another 6'9" wing who can defend and drop 20 points a night, who can shoot over 40% from 3. I think now again, he was playing on the Hawks. I'm interested in seeing what DeAndre Hunter can do when the stakes are higher and the expectations are that you're going to make a run to the conference finals, because not everybody handles the heat when there's high expectations. I do think Cleveland is the second best team in the East because I think that they have a dynamic backcourt. They have a front court that dominates the boards. Mobley has extended his range.
Yes.
And then they just added Hunter. I don't think the Knicks have enough. The Knicks have the least amount of depth as any contender in the East. I think the Bucks are putting a lot of pressure on the shoulders of Kyle Kuzma. I'm going to trust DeAndre Hunter over Kyle Kuzma. I am.
Any day.
I just am.
Are you saying that Deuce McBride and Cam Payne aren't like depth pieces, Mo, for a championship title?
As you laugh asking me that question, I am saying that.
You're not a Deuce McBride guy? I think the Knicks have the best starting 5.
I won't argue with that.
You're absolutely correct.
You can't argue with that. No.
I won't argue with that.
No. I just don't. I don't trust Tom Thibodeau.
He's gonna run him into the ground. He's gonna run him into the ground.
They're gonna play. Their starting 5 is gonna play 40 minutes in the postseason.
That's tough.
And they're gonna wear down and get knocked out in the second round.
You know that every member of their starting 5 is averaging 35 minutes a game or higher right now. That's so wild right now. Like, how are you doing that in the regular season in the East?
That's crazy. And he's still going with the same coaching philosophy for years. That's just crazy to me.
And they've all started 49 games or more.
Jeez, man.
It's a wild. Tom Thibodeau just don't learn.
He don't. I think Tom Thibodeau's a good coach, but I think he's taking the Knicks as far as he can take them.
Yep.
Yeah. He's stubborn. He's stubborn, and he's more petty than Vince McMahon when it comes to his way of lineups. Got a football question for you guys. We'll get started on the gridiron. With the way the Eagles built that team, with the success of the offensive and defensive lines, do you guys think that those positions will start to be more valued than the skill set positions?
Yeah, Mo. I want to go.
Look, they'll never be more valued than a quarterback. But I'm with you if you're saying if you dominate the line of scrimmage, you're gonna be a damn good football team if you dominate the line of scrimmage. So I think they've always been important. But you have to have a balance. The Eagles are very unique in that they have a dominant up front four on defense. They're dominant on the offensive line. And then they have the luxury of having incredibly skilled guys on the outside at wide receiver. And you've got the best runner. Like Howie Roseman is a thief. He's just a thief. He is to the NFL what is his name?
Danny Ainge.
Yes, what Danny Ainge is to the NBA. He just wins in every trade or every move he makes. I do value the ability to control the line of scrimmage. And the Eagles do that from the jump. Yes. And that starts with your GM, that starts with your drafting. They just done it right. I don't think it's hard to say they're more valuable than skill positions, but I do think they are. A great offensive lineman to me is more valuable than a great wide receiver.
Yeah, that was my point.
That's just my opinion. And edge rushers and dominant defensive tackles, they don't grow on trees.
That was my point.
I think they're more valuable too.
Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Yeah. Do you think that with the way the Eagles have built that team between offensive and defensive lines, with the importance, the value they put on that, do you think they'll start to devalue the other skill positions? Not QB, because nobody's gonna undervalue a QB, but other positions like wide receiver or running back.
I think that will happen, but I kind of want to. The cap going up another $25 million this year, and CJ just alluded to that. I want to give you breaking news. Maybe it's not breaking news. Maybe it's just my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before. And I disagree with Cottrell completely. Completely disagree.
Yeah, I just saw that. Me too.
I completely disagree. And this is the difference between new age thinking and old age thinking. And I get it. Like new age thinking, like Jed is going to help a ton, but I don't. Let me just I don't want to get into that debate. Here's your breaking news: Philadelphia Eagles are about to piss some more people off this offseason because with the with the cap going up $25 million, I've already seen it. It's already written. Josh Sweat is going to get paid from another team. Milt Williams is going to get paid from another team. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to sign Mekhi Becton back on a team-friendly deal because he wants to be in Philadelphia. He's already said it. He's like, I'll take less to stay here. And they're going to go out and trade for Myles Garrett. And the whole league is going to go, what the hell are we doing? I can already see the trade. The Philadelphia Eagles are going to give the Cleveland Browns a first this year, 32nd, a second next year, and a third next year, and Tanner McKee to be their compete for their starting quarterback job. And they're going to go out and get Myles Garrett from the Cleveland Browns. And you are going to have to block Myles Garrett, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith. Like it's good luck. And you look at the Eagles offensive line, right? I don't even want to go even further. You look at the Eagles offensive line. I want to ask you a question. Let's just say Lane Johnson falls off a cliff next year and isn't as good as he was this year. Not falls off a cliff, but takes a step back, right? One of the best right tackles in football. I remember he put on his locker the difference between him and Penei Sewell, and that Penei Sewell got first team All-Pro over him. And like he gave up no sacks, and like the stats he put up, like he really believes that he's the best right tackle in football. But okay. I want to ask you a question. Is Mekhi Becton second year under Jeff Stoutland at right guard going to be better or worse than he was this year?
Better.
Yeah, he should be better.
Is Cam Jurgens, his second year as a starter, third year in the NFL, going to be better or worse this year? This is talking about a second team All-Pro center.
Should be better.
Landon Dickerson's 5th year in the league, 4th year starting the left guard. Is he going to be better or worse this year?
Better.
Jordan Mailata. He's 28 years old. He was a 7th round draft pick from Australia. He's just learning how to play football. He was the highest graded player, not left tackle, not offensive lineman. He was the highest graded PFF player in the league this year. And he's going to be better next year. I'll piss people off, man. They're about to piss people off because if they go out and get Myles Garrett and add that to this team, people are going to be like, this isn't fair. You go start talking about them like the Dodgers.
I was getting ready to say to the Dodgers.
Yeah. I do agree. Now, in this next section of the show, on people who should just shut the hell up, Michael Irvin backs Dak Prescott in saying that the Cowboys are near the Eagles' success. She just shut the hell up.
I'll go first on this one. That's fine.
Go ahead, G. Preach it.
I want to preface this by saying the Dallas Cowboys are 0-2 against the Philadelphia Eagles with Saquon Barkley. I want to preface this by saying that the Dallas Cowboys are 0-2 against this Philadelphia Eagles roster.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going back and saying that the Dallas Cowboys, like Dak Prescott, has a winning record against the Eagles organization throughout their career, I mean, I guess that makes sense if you want to sell yourself on why you can compete. This is not competitive. If you watch both Eagles-Cowboys games this year, they were not competitive. Now, Cooper Rush was in. It wasn't Dak Prescott. I can understand that. But the last time we played the Dallas Cowboys, they had 2 wide receivers, not one. They had another wide receiver next to CeeDee Lamb. The Eagles did not have Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean. The Eagles did not have Zach Vaughn, who was an all-pro. Like, I get what the Eagles did not have Vic Fangio as their defensive coordinator. Oh, and by the way, Jalen Hurts has more playoff wins in his 4-year career than the Dallas Cowboys have in the last 28 years combined.
Yep.
You want to tell me about the Dallas Cowboys are close? Are you out of your freaking mind? I think the Dallas Cowboys, and I don't care how stupid this sounds, I think they're set up for the 4th most success in the NFC right now. It would be hard for you to argue them over Philadelphia and Washington. I'm going to give you a piece of information. The New York Giants are going to go out and get a quarterback this year, whether it be Matt Stafford, whether it be Aaron Rodgers, but they're going to go all in to try to make the playoffs to save Dable's job and to save that GM's job. They're fired if they don't make the playoffs. So I'm telling you right now, the Giants are going to win more football games next year than the Cowboys. The Cowboys promoted their offensive coordinator to their head coach. They just removed a guy. That's all they did. When you remove a guy from the building in Mike McCarthy and just don't add anything, they added nothing. They just promoted from within. It's a joke.
Mo, any comments?
I just think that whenever Michael Irvin speaks, you have to take it with a huge grain of salt. He's a Cowboy. He bleeds Cowboy. Jerry's his guy. That's his dude. So he's going to say unrealistic things. Look at the Cowboys. One of the worst offensive lines in football. They don't have a number 2 receiver opposite one of the best wide receivers in football. They don't have a running game. Their quarterback is a good quarterback, but he's yet to prove he can be a great quarterback. I don't think the Cowboys, I said it before last season started. I said they weren't going to make the playoffs, and they didn't. They're not going to make the playoffs this year either.
I do agree with that.
You look at that Cowboys roster from top to bottom. Their number 2 receiver is the ghost of Brandon Cooks. Their number 3 receiver is Jalen Tolbert. Are you out of your friggin' mind? They traded a 4th round draft pick for Jonathan Mingo.
That's right.
What are we doing?
Right. Dang, Gene.
I forgot about the Minga trade. Yeah, that was crazy.
He said the ghost of Brandon Cooks.
I mean, it's not Brandon Cooks. It's not Brandon Cooks in New Orleans. It's not Brandon Cooks in New England. It's not Brandon Cooks that played for LA. True. This is Brandon Cooks of the Dallas Cowboys, bro. He's not good anymore.
No.
There is a reason why he moves a lot too, though. It's not, I mean, Brandon Cooks he never had a big route tree. He did 2 things really well.
Yeah.
He could run a 9 route and he could run a Krausen route. That's it.
All right. I got a question. I took a little bit of heat on this the other day. And I'm trying not to, and I know this person is watching this show, so I'm gonna try not to make this person even more mad at me than already. He's a huge Jags fan. Is Trevor Lawrence just a guy?
So me and you are going to disagree here, and I'm on the. So first of all, you're on the positive side. You shouldn't be taking heat for that. That's the narrative. That's the popular narrative around the NFL. I'm waiting to see Cottrell's comment. It's coming in 3, 2, 1, bang. Like I'm telling you right now, you're not on the wrong side of history saying he's just a guy. But you would be wrong, and I'll tell you why you're wrong. And it's in their opinion. Your opinion could be right. You're wrong in a sense that, let me ask you a question real quick. What was the last Jaguars quarterback that was successful? Okay, I'll go further. Who was the last Chicago Bears quarterback that was successful? Okay, I'll go further. Cam Newton had a good year in Carolina. How's Carolina do with quarterback?
True.
I'm not like trying to be that guy, but like I said this on Wire to Wire, and I'll say it again. There are certain organizations where quarterbacks go to die. I thought Jacksonville would turn around with Trevor Lawrence, but they have shown you through Trent Baalke's terrible moves, hiring Urban Meyer as his first head coach. Then you get Doug Peterson, who's a great guy to get these guys to play for him. But every move that he made with that Jaguars organization was a bad move. People talk about Christian Kirk being, Christian Kirk, look at his numbers. He's had career numbers. I mean, you overpaid a slot receiver from Arizona and Jacksonville, and Trevor Lawrence and that team made him a good player. You see what happened when you gave him a first-round talent? Brian Thomas Jr. was incredible this year. See what happened when you gave him a wide receiver of actual talent? Now you got to fix the offensive line. Do you know what they did week 7 of the NFL season? Do you know what the Jacksonville Jaguars did week 7? They traded their starting left tackle to the Minnesota Vikings for a 5th-round draft pick. Are you out of your friggin' mind?
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, Cam Robinson stinks. And you've seen how bad he was when he was a goddamn turnstile versus the Los Angeles Rams when they played.
Yep.
But, Bryce Young looks like he has figured it out. Give me a break, brother. I love Bryce Young. But, like, we'll see. We'll see. Offensive lines, organizations make quarterbacks. The age-old discussion to me is if Joe Burrow was dropped off on a different team, a different franchise, do you think he'd have a Super Bowl by now? Because the Cincinnati Bengals suck. And you put a generational talent around. You have Joe Burrow and you have Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and you've given him what every quarterback wants, 2 top receivers, and you've failed to protect him because their offensive line constantly finishes in the middle or the bottom half of the league. When you do protect them, you give them the 32nd ranked defense. They were losing games 41-38. Yeah, Joe Burrow is the problem. You guys are idiots. No. Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow and other quarterbacks are just, and even Justin Herbert before this past year with Jim Harbaugh, are just failures of circumstance, failures of organizations. You'll see that with Caleb Williams. You'll see that this year with Caleb Williams having a real offense coordinator, Ben Johnson. I'll bet you this. The Chicago Bears will draft an offensive lineman. The Chicago Bears will sign an offensive lineman. The Chicago Bears will trade for an offensive lineman. I will bet you Ben Johnson builds that team up from the offensive lineup because that's what he did in Detroit.
Yes.
Look at the Detroit Lions. Do you think Jared Goff, when he was we were all laughing at Jared Goff leaving the Rams. I'm like, oh man, he stinks. He's going to go there. He's going to be a backup. And all they did in Detroit was put an offensive line around the kid and allow him to develop.
What are you thinking, Mo?
So I don't disagree with a lot of Gene's points. That said, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is a jag. I don't think he's just a guy. But I don't know if he's that guy. I don't know if he's an overcomer. A lot of times I watch him and I get it, bad organization, but he always looks defeated. I don't know if he's the kind of guy that can lead guys. You can give me talent and arm talent. I don't know if he's a leader, if he's that dude that everybody looks at and goes, he got us. I feel the same way with the young man in San Diego. I just can't remember his name. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, I feel the same way. Jim Harbaugh, they won, and I think they were a year ahead of schedule in terms of winning, and he had a good year, but he wasn't great. He certainly wasn't great when it mattered the most in the playoffs. I don't know if they're overcomers. They're definitely not average guys, but I don't view either one of them the way I view Joe Burrow. And he's in a horrible organization too, but I view him completely different from the way I view them.
Well, yeah, Joe Burrow is listen, I said this last night and I'll say it again. Okay. And I just want to reiterate, this is not a greatness scale. If I was starting a franchise tomorrow and I had the first overall pick, I would pick Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes, over Lamar Jackson, over Josh Allen, over anyone in football, because I would know how to build around Joe Burrow. I would pick him 1 over Mahomes, over Allen, over Jackson. Now, I'm not saying that he's greater because he's not. Mahomes has 3 Super Bowls, but yeah, bro, I think that the organization matters. I think the situation matters.
Yeah, well, I feel like even though they're different quarterbacks, what I fear for Joe Burrow is he's going to be the Dan Marino of this era.
Yeah,
that's what I fear for him, and I hate that for him.
I do too. And a trade or him saying he wants to be a trade, that's not gonna happen because he knows how much he means to that city. He knows it. So
I just don't know how you can watch Joe Burrow play football and be like, he's not like absolutely elite. He's not like a top 1 or 2 quarterback in football. Like, I watched Joe Burrow play football against Josh Allen, and I'm telling you right now, there's no comparison to me. Josh is athletic and he's fun, but Joe's better. I watched Joe Burrow play football against Lamar Jackson, and Lamar's athletic, but Joe's better at playing quarterback. Here's a game, and I know Mo will remember this exact game. Here's a game I would invite you to watch. Not this past year, but the year prior, the Cincinnati Bengals went into San Francisco and played the 49ers last year. I want you to watch the way Joe Burrow picked apart the best defense in football this year.
I remember that game. I do remember that game.
Just watch it. Just watch the way he picked apart the best defense in football last year.
Let me see. CJ said.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to look for guys that were in bad situations that went to better situations, you can compare Sam Darnold, you compare Jared Goff, you compare Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield was in 2 dumpster fire of a situation. Let me ask you guys a question. When's the last time the Cleveland Browns had a good quarterback? Who's the Cleveland Browns' greatest quarterback of all time? I'll wait. Organization sucks, bro. The organization.
You got to go back to the day. You got to go back to the Kozar days.
I was gonna say you might have to go
to the Kozar days to answer that question.
You might have to go back further. The greatest quarterback, you might be somebody that played with Jim Brown. You might have to go back even further.
That's the point, though. Are they just missing on all these blue chip athletes? All these guys that are drafted in the first round, they're just missing. These guys just all stink. No, organizations ruin players. Look at what Baker did this past year in Tampa Bay, the past 2 years in Tampa Bay. Look at what Jared Goff has accomplished in Detroit.
Yes.
Look, Sam Darnold. Look what he did in Minnesota. Geno Smith. Look what they do in different organizations with an offensive coach that built. Listen, Bryce Young could be good, right? He could be very good. And I love Bryce Young.
Otto Graham.
I'm a big Bryce Young fan.
Right.
But with that being said, the moment Dave Canales walked into the organization and said, I'm not building the offense around Bryce Young, he's going to fit into our offensive scheme. I'm like, that's a terrible idea. Like,
way to make the quarterback feel welcome.
He drafted him with the first overall pick.
Way to make the quarterback feel welcome. Oh my goodness. All right, last question. I'm gonna ruffle some more feathers. And I've asked this before. Made a lot of people upset. Got a lot of bad emails. Should Mike Tomlin be on the hot seat?
I don't think so. I mean, I get the argument that he hasn't won a Super Bowl in a minute, but the Steelers are always contenders, and offensively they're not a juggernaut. They haven't been a juggernaut offensively since I guess Ben was at his peak. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think he should be on the hot seat. If anything, he should be in demand. I think maybe he needs I can make the argument that maybe the Steelers and Tomlin, it might be time for a mutual separation and right, because I think put Tomlin in a different situation. He might need a fresh start. Maybe you can make the argument it's just gone stale on both sides. We all know in a quarterback driven league, when you're removed from a franchise quarterback, the challenge is to be relevant or remain relevancy. I think the Steelers have still been relevant without a franchise quarterback.
See,
that would be my argument. That would be my argument. They've been relevant.
Get me started on Doc Rivers, Catrell. Don't get
This
me
is
started.
but how can you compare him to Doc Rivers when Doc Rivers won one NBA title and he's lived off of that NBA title for over 20 years?
He has. He really has.
You know what I mean? Like, don't. I don't think it's the same thing at all.
Doc Rivers also had some of the best organizations ever, some of the best talent around him.
Thank you.
Doc Rivers team constantly underachieved.
That's what I'm saying. He's had elite talent everywhere he stopped at. Mike Tomlin has not had a franchise quarterback since Ben.
I just tell him Will to stop for that comment. This is one of the stupidest comments you can ever hear a person say, followed up by one of the most intelligent comments you can ever hear a person say. Because that is more accurate.
Yes, I agree with that.
Reed era in Philadelphia, it's time. I can hear that. I can hear that conversation. Here's the problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Here's the problem with Mike Tomlin in that situation. They might need a divorce. They're both good people. They both work for good. They both have good jobs. They're both good parents to their child. But like the love isn't there. And what I mean by that is, let's take a step back, right? He's had Ben Roethlisberger, and the Steelers are a product of their own success.
Yes.
When you have Mike Tomlin as your coach and you're constantly grinding out games that you win that you probably shouldn't, you're in purgatory. You can never really replace the quarterback. You can never really like walk into a situation and replace the quarterback or rebuild because they're in purgatory. So what they do is every year they try to look for a Band-Aid. And they go, oh, we're going to bring in Russell Wilson or Justin Fields. Well, Justin Fields isn't a Band-Aid. They should have stuck with Justin Fields and developed him. That's their fault. But they look for a Band-Aid because they're like, oh, well, if we just had a quarterback. Well, no, it's not if you just had a quarterback. If you just had a quarterback, an offensive line, a number one wide receiver, because George Pickens is not that. He's a number two.
Yep.
You need a little bit more than that. And you need to be in that era in which you're rebuilding the right way because they have the defense that can compete. But what ends up happening is by the end of the year, they just get run down.
Correct.
And they're just run down.
Yep.
Here's the thing, Will, the biggest goal, the goal is to win the Super Bowl, right?
Yes.
The Steelers have underachieved because they've overachieved. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like they've won games that they shouldn't have gotten. They've had records that they shouldn't have had. And Gene's right. They're in purgatory because they're overachieving and they can't reset and get a high enough draft pick to go out and get a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
It's like the NBA team that keeps finishing as the 6th seed that can't get Wemby, they can't get Chet, they can't get like a top pick in the NBA draft because they're in purgatory. They don't have a superstar to do it.
Right. All right, gentlemen. I want to say thank y'all for having me host these past 2 days. I do appreciate you guys having me here. I'll be back again on Wednesday, but it is time to go ahead and sign off. Mo, take us out.
Thank you guys so much for joining us this morning. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire to Wire Network. Wire to Wire Network, we appreciate you.
Gene, thank you for being here as well. We do appreciate you, brother. Any final words?
No, I just I can't. I have to take a parting shot. Doc Rivers will get you in the playoffs every year, but nothing comes of it. Both are living on the allure of a title almost 20 years ago. Would you prefer me to call him the Black Mike McCarthy? Here's the thing that you're not getting. Quarterbacks in the NFL are needed. There's only about 7 or 8 of them that can absolutely win you a championship. And Mike Tomlin has not had one since Ben Roethlisberger. You can keep bringing up the Doc Rivers comparison because it's embarrassing. But Doc Rivers has coached Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Joel Embiid, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. Like, go down the list of absolute superstars that this man has coached in his NBA career. Mike Tomlin's coach Ben Roethlisberger and who? Thank you. We're signing out.
All right. That's going to do it for us here at the morning show on Wire to Wire Sports. I will see you guys again on Wednesday. Brett will be here tomorrow. Everyone have a great day. Have a great week.